Alright, hello everybody, welcome to the first episode of the Rotary Miata build. Pretty much what we did to start off this build was hose the whole thing down. I mean, this car was gross. It had so much dirt in it. It did not look good. And shout out Brennan who brought over the power washer. That was super clutch. I was able to just hose the whole thing down, get all the dirt and grime out of there. I mean, this thing was sitting outside for years apparently, just collecting dust. So out in Arizona, that is not a good thing. It was a task, but we got it done. We did the engine bay, we got all the interior, the trunk, and one of the main problems I had was when I'd spray it down, it would end up pulling up a bunch of water inside, and I didn't realize that Miatas have drain plugs in them, which is a smart move by Mazda, but I didn't see that coming. So I drilled some holes in it, and about 20 minutes later, when all the water drained out of it, I realized they're just big rubber plugs at the bottom. So yeah, if you're power washing your Miata, that is something to note, that it is easier than you think. So don't drill holes in your Miata, because I definitely have made that mistake. So, but moving on, I mean, once that was done, I wanted to get started on this front subframe that I got from V8 Roadsters. They make stuff for LS swaps, but I read on some forums that since Rotaries have bigger oil pans than stock Miata, it's nice to have one of these lighter, thinner subframes to fit your engine in more easily. This specific one was made for LS, but we're going to make it work. It doesn't come with engine mounts or anything, so we're going to have to be making those probably in the next episode or two. And yeah, just the quality of this subframe was really nice. The welds were fantastic. It's super lightweight compared to stock anyway, and it's actually bare metal, which works out for me since we're making engine mounts, but it will have to be removed again once we've mocked up the engine so we can paint it up. But in the meantime, I wanted to put it in, so kind of first step for that was removing the stock, obviously. So there are 8 bolts that hold it in. There's 2 right in front of the stock suspension. They're pretty easy to see. There are 2 big bolts on each side. And then in the back, there's 4 more, 2 on each side again. One's pretty obvious, it's towards the back, but there were 2 I didn't see. They're kind of in a divot in front of the other bolt that's more easily visible. So I was trying to, jump on the subframe, getting it out, but ended up getting stuck in there. So after removing those bolts, it was pretty easy. Lowered it down with the jack a little bit, and then ended up, kind of wiggling it out. But once it dropped down, luckily I jacked up the car high enough to where I could kind of finesse the front subframe out of there. So that was actually pretty nice. I would definitely recommend jacking up your car pretty high for that. I ended up using a truck jack because they, they'll put up the car way higher. Once the front subframe was out, I was able to put the new one in. I wasn't sure if it was a good idea to put all the control arms onto the subframe beforehand. I felt like that would have been more of a pain to lift up, having both wheel assemblies on there. It was very easy to do without it. I kind of just hoisted it up myself and put in some screws, so it wasn't that bad. But the only problem with that was when I was trying to put in the upper control arm, the long bolt that goes all the way through wouldn't fit. It would hit the edge of the chassis before it could fit, so I had to kind of slant it downwards so I could fit that bolt right through. But it worked out. It was kind of hanging and sketching me out a little bit, but I got it done pretty quickly. Just used a jack to put up the the hub and the brakes, because that was a bit on the heavy side. So, but once I got it up there, slid the bolt right through, got it all worked out. It all fit pretty nicely. Definitely recommend the V8 Roadsters. It's a bit on the pricey side, but it's definitely worth it, especially if you're doing swaps and stuff like that. Once that was done, I was able to remove all the stock suspension from everywhere and get the race lines that I got already. One of them had a broken bolt on the top hat because I got them used, but I was able to just swap it over from the stock suspension. I would definitely be wary of doing this without some sort of spring compressor. I kind of just did it anyway, but definitely be careful because the compressed load on that spring will shoot that top hat out, and it's not good. It's definitely very dangerous. So definitely be careful. Just hold your wrench really lightly and let it fly out of your hands. But once I got that, I made sure to slam all the coilovers as low as they go, because why not? Definitely not going to leave it at this ride height because it's very low. I would not be able to survive with that. Even though I am doing over fenders and front fenders, so it's going to be low, but it's not going to be this low, unfortunately, unless I get back. So that's like $2,000. So not part of the build yet. But yeah, once the coilovers were in and all adjusted, it was great, and the car ended up looking like this. So in terms of future plans, we are going to be swapping out the diff in the Miata that's in there currently with the RX-7 diff. I think mine is welded because it came out of a drift car, so take that as good or bad. Definitely going to be driving the shit out of this Miata, so we'll see if I end up taking it drifting or not. Tires are expensive, but pretty much we're going to put in the RX-7 diff, try to keep the drive shaft the stock. I'd rather not have to modify because more expenses, but whatever happens, happens. As long as the engine isn't sitting too far forward, then we're all right. I mean, as long as there's space for a radiator, intercooler shouldn't really be a problem. But I think my main concern right now is wiring. I am not an electrical guy. I mean, I'm a mechanical engineer, but I hate electrics, so we'll see how that goes. When I bought this engine from a guy on Craigslist, he said it was running in the car when he had it in there last, like a year or two ago, so kind of sketches me out. He said the only problem was electrical gremlins, that's his words, so not looking forward to that. Might have to make my own wiring harness and then use a standalone ECU. So, that's going to be a whole other thing. Right now we're in the easy stages of just swapping it. Like that's going to be the easy part, at least for me. But I mean, that's the plan for the engine. Definitely going to do a rear bash bar on this thing. I'm not planning to do a rear bumper. Possibly chassis mount wing, depending if I want to or not. We'll see how it goes. We got roll bar coming in soon. I have these seats. I want to get a full interior going. I don't like gutted cars, so definitely want it to be still comfortable, yet awesome. So we got over fenders, which are sitting over there. I already have them. Front fenders are also right there. I have these MST Time Attack wheels. Super hyped for these. I had a bronze version of these on my old Miata, and I love them. And I got some ones, so we'll see. I'm not sure what I want to do with paint yet. I kind of want to do it myself just to get that experience of doing paint myself, but I also want it to look good, so we'll see. Depends how much money I have. I'm trying to keep this build relatively cheap, but these engines blow up all the time, so how am I supposed to keep that cheap? But speaking of which, we actually will be doing a rebuild of this engine. Because why would I put in the engine without rebuilding it first? Like it's a rotary, it's gonna explode. So definitely gonna do an engine rebuild video. That's gonna be really cool. I've never worked on a rotary before, and I'm super pumped to get going on that and just learn about these in general. This turbo has One of the impellers is broken, so probably going to do a rebuild on that as well. And other than that, it's pretty much my spiel. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Stay tuned for more. We got a lot coming. This build is going to be a long, tedious process. So definitely more videos to come. And thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe, all that shit. So thanks.